Have you ever noticed how some people go to bed thinking everything is under control, only to wake up with much higher blood sugar levels without understanding why? This happens far more often than most people realize. And the most concerning part is that these silent overnight spikes can continue for years without causing obvious symptoms at first. While you sleep, your body is still working. Hormones are released, the liver produces glucose, and your metabolism shifts throughout the night. In some people, especially after the age of 50 or 60, that process can start falling out of balance. Many people believe blood sugar only rises because of what they ate during the day. But in many cases, the real problem begins during sleep itself. Someone may eat an early dinner, avoid sweets, take their medications correctly, and still wake up every morning with elevated glucose levels. Over time, that creates frustration, fear, and the feeling that they're doing everything right while their body keeps working against them. There is a medical phenomenon known as the dawn phenomenon. During the early morning hours, usually between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m., the body naturally begins preparing to wake up. At that time, hormones like cortisol and other alertness-related hormones begin to rise. The goal is to provide energy for the start of the day. To do that, the liver releases glucose into the bloodstream. In people with healthy metabolism, the body is usually able to balance that increase naturally. But in people with insulin resistance, prediabetes, or type 2 diabetes, that extra glucose may stay in the bloodstream much longer. The result is waking up with blood sugar levels significantly higher than they were before bed. Let me pause for a moment, because this has everything to do with what we've been talking about. When these signs start showing up more often, many people realize the body may need extra support to regain balance. I left something in the first pinned comment related to natural ingredients that have been getting attention around this topic. Now let's continue, because this gets even more interesting. And one of the most important things to understand is that this does not always mean someone failed with their diet or completely lost control of their diabetes. In many cases, a silent hormonal process is happening during the night. Another factor many people overlook is dinner timing. Eating too late can extend digestion well into the night. Depending on the amount of carbohydrates consumed at dinner, the body may continue absorbing glucose for hours after the person is already asleep. That can contribute to elevated glucose levels by morning. Poor sleep can also have a much bigger impact than most people realize. Bad sleep increases physiological stress on the body. And when that happens, the body tends to release even more cortisol and adrenaline. Those hormones can make overnight glucose control even more difficult. That is why some people wake up exhausted even after spending hours in bed. Some wake up multiple times during the night to urinate, feel unusually thirsty in the morning, or notice that strange feeling of fatigue shortly after waking up. These signs are not always just part of aging. Sometimes the body has spent the entire night struggling with glucose fluctuations without the person even realizing it. And there is one simple strategy that has started gaining attention in studies related to nighttime blood sugar control. It is not a miracle solution. It does not replace medical care, but for some people, it may help the body respond better overnight. A light walk after dinner, something simple, no intense workout, no extreme exercise, just gentle movement after the last meal of the day. When muscles move, they begin using more glucose as energy. That helps reduce some of the glucose circulating in the bloodstream after eating. In some people, this may contribute to more stable blood sugar levels overnight and into the next morning. And the interesting part is that we are not talking about heavy gym sessions or exhausting routines. In many cases, a calm 15 to 20-minute walk may already help improve the body's nighttime metabolic response, especially when combined with an earlier dinner, balanced meals, and a more consistent sleep schedule. But there is another reason why overnight blood sugar can become dangerous, and this is the part many people never hear about. Sometimes the problem is not that blood sugar stays too high during the night. Sometimes it actually drops too low while the person is sleeping. And when that happens, the body can respond by pushing glucose sharply upward a few hours later. This is known as rebound blood sugar, and it can create a very confusing pattern. A person goes to bed with normal glucose levels, wakes up with extremely high numbers, and assumes the body needed more medication. But in some cases, the exact opposite may be happening. During the night, especially between midnight and 3 in the morning, blood sugar may fall lower than the body can comfortably tolerate. When the brain senses that drop, the body reacts almost like an emergency alarm has been triggered. Stress hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol begin rising quickly. The liver responds by releasing stored glucose into the bloodstream in an attempt to protect the brain from dangerously low sugar levels. The problem is that sometimes this reaction overshoots. Instead of returning glucose to a stable level, the body releases too much. By morning, the person wakes up with blood sugar significantly higher than expected without realizing that a hidden overnight drop happened first. This is one reason why simply increasing medication without understanding the pattern can sometimes make the situation worse. More medication may push blood sugar even lower during sleep, which can trigger an even stronger rebound by morning. That is why understanding patterns matters so much. In many cases, people only measure blood sugar before bed, and again after waking up. But they never see what happened in the middle of the night. The body may have gone through several hormonal changes while they were asleep. Some doctors recommend occasional overnight monitoring to better understand these patterns. For certain people, checking glucose around 3 in the morning for a few nights may reveal important information about what the body is actually doing overnight. This should always be discussed with a healthcare professional, especially for people using insulin or medications that can lower blood sugar. Another issue that deserves attention is sleep apnea, particularly in adults over 50. Many people with sleep apnea do not even know they have it. They may snore loudly, wake up tired, fall asleep easily during the day, or wake up gasping during the night. But what happens internally can strongly affect glucose control. When breathing repeatedly stops during sleep, the body enters a stress response over and over again throughout the night. Oxygen levels temporarily drop, stress hormones increase, and the nervous system becomes more activated. Over time, this repeated stress can worsen insulin resistance and contribute to higher morning glucose levels. This is why blood sugar control is not only about food. Sleep quality matters, stress matters, hormones matter, meal timing matters, evening habits matter, and one of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that higher morning glucose automatically means personal failure. That mindset creates guilt, discouragement, and emotional exhaustion. But the body is far more complex than that. Sometimes the issue is not a lack of effort. Sometimes it is a physiological pattern happening silently every night. This is why tracking patterns calmly and consistently can be so valuable. Looking at bedtime glucose, morning glucose, sleep quality, dinner timing, nighttime awakenings, and even energy levels in the morning can help reveal connections that were previously invisible. And there is something else important many specialists emphasize today. Large glucose swings can be just as problematic as consistently elevated levels. The body generally responds better to stability than to constant spikes and crashes. That is another reason why small evening habits can matter more than people expect. A lighter dinner, fewer refined carbohydrates late at night, a short walk after eating, more consistent sleep schedules, and improving sleep quality may all support better overnight stability for some individuals. None of these are miracle solutions. None replace medical treatment. But together, they may help reduce the metabolic stress happening during the night. And perhaps the most important message in all of this is understanding that overnight glucose changes are not always random. Very often, the body is following patterns. Once those patterns are identified, conversations with healthcare professionals become much more productive and much more targeted. Instead of feeling lost every morning, the person begins understanding what may actually be happening during those silent overnight hours. Because sometimes the real battle with blood sugar is not happening during the day at all. Sometimes it is happening quietly in the dark while the body is trying to sleep. And before we finish, if this topic made sense to you, it may be worth taking a look at the first pinned comment. I left something related to this topic that may complement everything we talked about today. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.